Let's talk about the volume of pyramids. So a pyramid is a polyhedron that has a base, and all of the lateral faces are isosceles triangles. So probably when you think of the word pyramid, you either think of maybe pizza, or you think of the pyramids in Egypt, right? So they come up to a point. So do all pyramids. So the base is that polygon down there on the bottom, and then the lateral faces are all those triangles like we mentioned before. The edges are where the faces meet each other, and the apex, this point up here is the apex. From the apex down to the base, this is the height. The height always makes a right angle with the base, just like we always talked about for area. There's something called slant height that sometimes they'll give us that we have to use to solve for the height, but we don't need it, and it doesn't really matter what its name is. So pyramids, the big thing with their volume is that we're going to do the exact same thing as finding the volume of a prism. We're going to take the area of the base times the height, but we're just going to divide that whole thing by 3. So if I had a prism that was the exact same area of base and height, I could fit 3 of those melted down inside of there, okay? 3 of those volumes could fit into one prism that has the same area of base and height. Okay, so on this guy, my base is going to be this rectangle. So for the area of my base, I will take 4 times 3 for base times height, and we'll get 12. So our volume is going to be area of the base times the height divided by 3. 12 was our base times 8 right here is our height since it goes from the apex down to the base. And we'll take that whole thing and divide by 3. So 12 times 8 divided by 3 is going to give us 32. That'll be units cubed, just like all of our other volumes. Okay, in this next one, our base is this triangle down on the bottom. To find the area of that triangle there on the bottom, we'll have to take base times height divided by 2, or 3 times 9 divided by 2. And we'll get 27 halves, or that's 13.5. Good deal. Now my height is right here from the apex down to my base. So 8 is my height. Volume is area of the base times the height divided by 3. So we'll take 13.5 times 8 and divide that by 3. And when we put that into our calculator, we're going to end up with 36. And that'll be centimeters cubed, or cubic centimeters. All right. On this next one, we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle inside of there, right? Okay, so let's get to that stuff here in a minute. So volume is area of the base times the height divided by 3 for a pyramid. Our base here is going to be this square that's 10 by 10. So to find the area of that square, we'll take 10 times 10 and get 100 for the area of that base. So far we have 100 times, we don't know what the height is yet, we'll get there in a second, over 3. Okay. Now do you see this 30, 60, 90 triangle right here? Okay. Are we on board that this long leg is going to be the height of my pyramid? Are we also on board that right here, that little squiggly piece, is going to be 5 because it's going to be half the length of that other side. So now we're looking at a 30, 60, 90 triangle. That has a 5 here. And we're wanting to find our height here. And here's a 60-degree angle. We on board with that? Cool. So 5 is our short leg. The height of our prism is our long leg. So he'll go over the square root of 3. And then we'll cross multiply. 1 times h is h. Square root of 3 times 5 is 5 square root 3. So now we know the height of this, oopsies, the height of this prism is 5 square root 3. So when we put that into our calculator, it's going to give us 500 square root 3 over 3, and that'll be centimeters cubed. Or, hang on, let me look at my notes. Oh no, that's just what I have in there. If it gives you a decimal, I'm sure it's true. I'll put it into Canvas to make sure you have a decimal for those guys. Okay, let's take a look at this next one. So volume is area of the base times the height divided by 3 for a pyramid. Our base here is a rectangle, or I'm sorry, a square. So we can take 16 times 16 to get his area, and that's going to be 256. Over here we have a triangle. Right here is going to be the height of my prism because the distance from the apex to the base. And that little squiggly line right there is going to be 8 because it's going to be half the length of that other side. So let's draw that triangle separately real quick. We know that hypotenuse is 17. This stretches 8. And this is the height of my pyramid. We're going to have to use the Pythagorean Theorem. So across from the right angle, 17 is my hypotenuse. So we've got 8 squared plus x squared equals 17 squared. If we put 17 squared minus 8 squared into our calculator, we're going to get 225. Then we'll take the square root of both sides and get 15 for that height. So this piece right here is going to be 15. So here we go. The area of our base was 256 times our height was 15, and then we'll take that whole thing and divide it by 3. And when we put that into the calculator, we're going to get 1,280. And that'll be cubic meters. I never boxed this guy's up. There we go. Okay, we want to find the height of a pyramid whose area of its base is 35 and volume is 175. Okay, so volume equals area of the base times the height divided by 3. So it says the area of the base is 35, so that will go in for the big B. We don't know what the height is, so we'll leave it like that. He's still over 3. They tell us that our volume is 175, so that's going to go in for V. So 35 divided by 3 doesn't come out nicely. So if I were you, I would get rid of that 3 since he's dividing by multiplying by 3 on both sides. So those will divide away, and we just have 35h over on that right side. And 3 times 175 is 525. So last thing to get h by itself, divide by 35 on both sides. And our height will be 15. All right, good deal, guys. See you later.